Had a lot of different gardening projects going on lately, so in this video we're going to give an update on how the plants are doing, as well as the watering system and a couple more final tweaks I need to make on the watering for this season. So to start off, the snap peas are doing really good. Some of them have started trellising on their own. A few of them I had to attach zip ties to them, but they're doing great. I thinned them down a little bit. And over here I've got some green beans. They're also doing really good. It's time for me to thin these down a little bit. I haven't gotten to that yet. On this row, I used emitter tubing that has 6-inch spacing. So it's just wrapped around both sides to give a nice steady stream of water to all the plants. It's coming off my main line here. We'll show more of that in a second. Here we got a few more green beans. These ones did really well. I planted these ones later than the others, but they actually did better than the first batch. So these are doing really good. Here's my cucumber plants. They're starting to take off a little bit as well. This one is just trellising really well on its own. These are also hooked up to tubing with 6-inch spacing. Got some marigolds throughout the beds just to try to use them to repel the deer. We'll see if it works or not. I need to get some more still. Here we've got the squash bed. I've got several zucchinis and a couple yellow squashes, and they're all growing for sure. They're doing really good. For the squash bed, I just took a main line and I put individual drippers for every plant. So each plant gets its own drip line. Back here I've got a few pots that I'm filling with some extra dirt I had left over. Just gonna plant some other flowers in that. Also over here, I think we're gonna put some carrots on the outside of this bed because those should be a nice shallow crop. Let me know if you have any other ideas of a different crop I could put on the edges of these beds with the trellis. Here's the tomato bed. The tomatoes are just taking off, climbing through the cages. They've all grown. Got some better boys and early girls on the left side of this bed. And then over here, I believe we've just got 8 Sweet 100 plants. These are on drip tubing that has 16-inch spacing, so I try to just keep everything with that spacing and let that take care of all the watering. I also have some switches I need to add to these beds so I can control which beds are receiving water at whatever time. Here we've got the pepper bed and the zinnias. The peppers are taking a little longer. The deer got a couple of these, but they're still doing okay. So I think right here we have the jalapenos, and right here we have a couple sweet pepper varieties. Here's the zinnia bed. We did all of these from seed from American Meadows, and they're just doing fantastic. I know some of you will say that they're too tightly spaced together, but this is how my wife's always done it and always had great success, so we decided to just keep the tight spacing on zinnias. Over here we have the strawberry bed. On these outer sides, these were new plants that I got from someone on Facebook, and they've made some strawberries. They're not doing great. They're not doing terrible. We'll see how many of them last and if they make runners. I have really high hopes for these to actually survive. And I just installed drip line in a zigzag pattern on this, so it tries to intersect with as many of the plants as possible, and it's also connected to my drip system. Looking at the strawberry plants, we're already getting a decent number of strawberries off of these established ones, and they taste really good, so that's been super exciting. Finally, we have the blackberries. I added a few more blackberry plants to the collection. I need to move my stake and wires so that I can attach those as well. These also each have their own individual emitters. I still need to add a few more for some of the transplants. There's more than you can see under there. I didn't do a good job at clearing out all the grass and the weeds that were right here, so I'm having to be careful with the way I take care of grass. Now that I've got everything planted, I've done a round of fertilizer, I've done some more pelletized lime on the soil just to help treat it, and I've got almost all of the watering system hooked up. I need to add a little bit more to the zinnia bed so that it can cover this a little bit more full. Basically how the watering system works is I attach my hose to this inlet, and then I have the distribution tube that goes to all the different beds. So it goes over here. Then the black tubing wraps around and goes to these blackberries. And on this side, the tubing just goes across this way to all of these beds. And I'm trying to put shutoff switches on each individual bed so I can control everything. I also still need to add some drippers to some of my marigolds just so those stay watered too. The irrigation system is a great way to save a lot of watering time, and it's just more efficient because it puts the water right at the roots, so you don't have to worry about it evaporating off the plants. And it also can prevent diseases because the plants don't have water on the leaves. It's just right there at the roots. So I highly recommend putting in a watering system. I want to make a more in-depth video about it because it's taken me a few years to figure it out. Some other projects I still have, I need to rake and dethatch my lawn so I can have mulch to use on all of the beds. I think that would be a great cheap way to do it. I also need to put weed barrier in between all the beds and make a path. Level out a little bit more of this excess dirt I had. I've gotten it really close to using up all the dirt. So just some manual labor with that stuff. Putting some mulch down on top to give the garden a much more finished look, and then maybe doing some more with lighting. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions about my gardening setup, the watering system, or any of the plants, or if you have any great ideas for me, be sure to leave a comment below.